Hello everyone, this is Dr. Sanjeev Parvi, dear students, and today we will be studying one of the very interesting topic in icse syllabus, and that is soils of India. Okay, remember this is a compulsory question in board examination and it carries 10 marks. This will always be question number 5. Okay, and of course there will be 1 or 2 mark questions based on this chapter that will come in board examination in the form of MCQ questions. Okay, so let us study this topic called soils of India. Remember, in our syllabus we have only 4 soils, and those soils are alluvial soil, black soil, red soil, and laterite soil. Now, when we talk about soil, my dear students, okay, the first thing that we must ask a question to ourselves is, what is soil? Okay, now please remember, when we are writing the definition of word soil, okay, we have to write in terms of the definition and we have to explain it in a proper way. Now please understand that soil is basically a mixture. Now when we use the word mixture, please understand it means it will be having the constituents present in various proportions. Now what are the constituents present in soil? Okay, think about it and it's very simple answer. The constituents will be, there will be some minerals present in soil, minerals, organic matter, there will be some water, there will be some dissolved salts, there will be some liquids, some gases, some microorganisms. And if we ask question to ourselves, are these all constituents present in same proportion in all soils? And answer will be, of course not. It means when we talk about soil at one particular place, then that soil will be not having the same properties as the soil present at other place. Now, another very important word that is related to soil is fertility of soil. Okay, now fertility of soil is actually the strength of the soil to support the growth of plant. It's the power, it's the strength, it's the ability of the soil to support the growth of the plant. Okay, and this fertility of the soil depends upon many factors. Okay, one such a factor is moisture. Is enough of moisture present in soil? Okay, now actually moisture is needed by plants for germination of seeds. So if the seeds germinate, then and then there will be the growth. That means moisture is a very important factor. Second important thing is whether the soil has got sufficient depth. Okay, now think about this, that suppose the depth of the soil is this much and a plant is going to grow, and once the plant begin to grow bigger, now if the soil is not present in enough quantity, so below here will be the rocky layer, and will that rocky layer provide enough of nutrient and water to plant? Of course not. That means in case a plant has to grow properly, there has to be sufficient depth for the growth of plant. So greater the depth of the soil, better will be the fertility of soil. Okay, now another important factor that decides the fertility of soil is organic matter. When we use the word organic matter, it is also called as humus, which is nothing but dead and decaying matter of plant and animal origin. That means when plants and animals die, or when their leaves fall down, or the parts of the animal fall down on the ground, or excreta of the animal, when these things begin to decay, they turn into humus. This humus is actually a very good nutrient for the plant, and therefore greater the amount of organic matter, better is the quality of soil. Besides that, there are three major nutrients present in soil. Okay, one is nitrogen, other is phosphorus, and another one is potassium. If a soil is having these three constituents in greater proportion, then the soil is considered as very fertile soil, because these are the three main constituents required for plant growth. Because these are three main, therefore we call them by the name macronutrient or major nutrients. Besides that, plant also require sulfur, magnesium, iron, and other nutrients, okay, which include total 22, which are called as micronutrients. Okay, now look at this picture. Sometime back I used the word humus. Okay, now if you look here, you will find some leaves of the plant are fallen down. Similarly, sometimes branches will fall, sometimes fruits will fall, and as the time will pass, these things will begin to decay, and this decayed matter, dear students, will turn into humus, which is called as organic matter, which is very good for the growth of plant. Besides that, okay, if you see here, you'll find here a body of animal, okay, which is now, this animal is dead. Ultimately this body will also decay, and it will also turn into humus. Okay, and if you see here, this soil is consisting of greater amount of humus. So more the quantity of humus, better is the fertility of soil. Okay, so in this way, fertility of the soil will depend upon the factors which we have just now discussed. Okay, now some time back I said that the soils at different places are different. Okay, now we have to understand why are they different. One of the reason, my dear students, which we have already seen, and what is that reason? Correct, the reason is the various proportions of various constituents in soil. Besides that, soil also depends upon the parent material, that means from which rock the soil is formed, then what type of climatic conditions are present near the soil, what about the relief feature, the slope of the land, which type of plants are growing nearby the soil, and how much time is needed for the soil to form, and also what are the various life forms which are present over there. Now we will study step by step. Now look at this picture. I use the word parent material. Okay, now if you look at these various rocks, okay, now the rock number 1 and the rock number 2 that you see here have different colors. Similarly, the rocks here are of different colors. So whenever a soil will be formed from these rocks, naturally the color of the soil will be different, the constituents will be different, and because various types of rocks are found at various places, therefore the parent material is different, and therefore the type of soil is also different. Then I said relief feature also plays important role in formation of soil. Now let us take example. Suppose I am writing on mountain slope as 1. When water will begin to flow down, the soil will start getting formed, rock will start getting eroded, and here the material will come down very fast because there is a greater slope. Whereas at place number 2 and place number 3, the speed of water will decrease. It means now the soil formation will take place slowly, gradually, and each particle will get enough time to get broken down into smaller pieces. Therefore, the soil found at place number 1 will be different than the soil found at place number 2, different from place number 3. The next, now you can see this picture here, okay, when the erosion will start and when the weathered material will start getting collected here, you can see the bigger particles of the soil. When the same soil will flow down into the river, now here it will get enough time for its formation because the flow of water is there on a gentle slope, and therefore soil will start getting formed and it will be subjected to the force of nature, that is flowing water, for longer time, and therefore the formation of the soil will take place in a proper way on a gentle slope. Now the next point, okay, that we are going to look at now, what are the major types of soils present in our country? Okay, what are the major type of soils? Now look at this. Before, as I already said, we are going to study about four type of soils in India, okay, and we have also seen the definition of soil, that it is a mixture of organic matter, nutrients, gases, microorganisms, etc., which support life. Okay, now this process, dear children, in which soil is formed, so the process of soil formation is known by pedogenesis. Please remember this word. Pedogenesis is a process of formation of soil. Okay, and as I already said, we are going to study about four major soils in India. Now, before we go to these four different soils, dear students, I would like to draw your attention to one of the very important point, that is what the nutrients which are present in soil. Okay, please remember we will be studying four type of soils and we'll be studying the nutrients present in them. But before we study the nutrients present in them, please understand what is the importance of each nutrient. Please remember, phosphorus and magnesium, these two nutrients are required for photosynthesis. It's a process in which plants make their own food. When the photosynthesis will occur, definitely then the plant will begin to develop, the plant will mature, and greater the quantity of this phosphorus and magnesium, better will be the photosynthesis, better will be the development, better will be the maturity of the plant, and in this way we are going to get more and more production. Second important constituent is humus, and second one is along with humus is lime, and both these constituents play very important role in reducing the acidity of the soil. Okay, and second thing, they help in more percolation of water. So more water gets absorbed in a soil, better will be the availability of water to the plant and better will be the growth of the plant. Then the next one are potassium and aluminium. Okay, both of them are required for plant growth. When the plant will grow properly, the overall production of the crop will increase. Therefore, we say it is required for increasing the yield, increasing the productivity, and also these two are essential for resisting the diseases. That means they increase the immunity of plant. The next very important constituent is nitrogen, and nitrogen is required by plants, dear student, the process of making proteins. Please understand, proteins are required by human beings also, because these proteins are essential for making muscles. Your heart is a muscle, your stomach is a muscle, your intestine is a muscle. If proteins are not there, then there will be no muscles, and if there are no muscles, definitely life will come to an end on earth. So nitrogen is another very important constituent. Now dear students, look at this picture very carefully. You will find some crops are being grown, okay, and near these crops on either side you will find trees are planted. Okay, when trees are planted like this, it is called as shelter belt. So shelter, that means these trees are giving protection to these plants. How? By not allowing the soil to flow away along with the wind. Okay, so what the trees will do, they will obstruct the speed of the wind, and this is how the rate of soil erosion will be controlled. And second thing, they also will not allow water to flow away. This is how they will be able to protect the soil and will stop the erosion of soil. Okay, now we have come to the last topic of this lesson, and that is conservation of soil. Okay, first thing, what is conservation of soil? Okay, it is a process in which we stop the degradation of soil. Degradation means what? It means it's a process in which soil loses the fertility, the layer of the soil gets reduced. When we take the steps to stop this degradation of soil, we call it by the name soil conservation. Okay, so thus it is a process in which we stop the soil erosion, and we also take the steps to maintain the fertility of soil. Okay, now why there is now a need to conserve soil? Okay, please understand that the rate of soil erosion, my dear students, is absolutely slow. Okay, one of the estimates say that for the formation of 1 inch layer, 1 inch is approximately 2.3 centimeter thick. Just for formation of this much layer on earth, on an average 800 to 1000 years are required. It's a very huge amount of time, and as compared to this rate of soil formation, the rate of soil erosion is very high. If soil gets eroded this way, then the crop production will suffer miserably, and in that case we won't have enough of a soil to produce enough of food for ever increasing population of the world, and that can create tremendous problem for our future generations. That is why there is a absolute need to conserve soil. Okay, to conserve soil or to stop the rate of soil erosion. Okay, now what steps can we take in order to stop the soil erosion and to conserve the soil? Okay, if you see here, some people are planting the trees. Okay, this land looks barren. When we carry out tree plantation on a land where initially crops were not grown, sorry, the trees were not grown, initially where the land is not having any plant cover or tree cover, when we grow the trees on such a land, we call it by the name afforestation. Okay, now look at second picture. You will find here some trees are already cut. That means deforestation has taken place. Now, in such a place, when we carry out the tree plantation again, it is called as reforestation. So, reforestation refers to a process of planting the trees in deforested area, and we have already seen more the number of trees, more will be the uh, rate of soil conservation, because trees will also produce leaves, they will produce fruits, flowers, which will ultimately fall on the soil, which will decay, and upon decaying, they will produce humus, which increases the soil fertility. Moreover, trees will also hold water, they will also hold soil, and this is how they will reduce the rate of soil erosion. The next step that can be taken for conservation of soil is to check overgrazing. Now we cannot stop the grazing completely, but we can definitely control the overgrazing. So how can we control the overgrazing? So we can limit the time of grazing. So we can limit the time of grazing, and we can reserve certain areas, and in those areas only the animals should be allowed for grazing. Okay, so this is how we will be able to protect the soil found in our areas. Next step is to construct dams and check dams. Okay, now you know what is a dam. What is a check dam, dear students? Now look at this picture. Now it's a small wall, also called as embankment, that is constructed across a small river or a stream. Now you find here this water has become muddy. That means it has brought soil. Now what this wall will do? Now it will not allow this water to flow away, and even if water overflows, but the soil will remain stuck behind this wall, and that soil can later be collected and again put back in our farm. This is how we are taking a step to protect our soil and stop the erosion. Next step is called as crop rotation. Please remember, few crops like pulses, okay, they are able to convert nitrogen from air into nitrogen compound, and this nitrogen compound provides nitrogen to the plant, which is essential for protein formation. We have already studied this. It means if we grow pulses in the farm, because of growth of pulses, nitrogen compound will increase in a soil, and after we cut, I mean to say harvest the pulses, in the same farm we can grow either wheat or jawar or rice, some kind of crop. For them, now the nitrogen compound will be available. Now these crops will absorb nitrogen, so therefore now the nitrogen will be depleted from the soil. Now after we harvest the other crop in this farm, we can again now plant what? Pulses, and those pulses will again renew the fertility of the soil, and this is how pulses and another crop, and after that another crop is cultivated, again pulses we can grow, and this is how we will be able to conserve the soil and maintain its fertility. We have also already seen what is a strip cropping. Okay, that is to grow the crops in a line, in a straight line, perpendicular to the direction of the wind. And this is how obstructing the speed of the wind, and this is how to control the wind erosion. That means the soil erosion by wind. Okay, so this is how we can take this step also. And one more and a very important step, my dear student, that we can take is to create awareness. Okay, to create awareness. Therefore, on 5th of December, we celebrate this day as World Soil Day, in which we uh, give the message to the people about conservation of soil and how it is so important to conserve our soil, not only for our generation but also for future generation. If we really create this awareness, then people will be aware and they will also take steps to conserve the soil, and this is how help in better future. Thank you very much. May God bless every one of us. After studying a variety of soils found in India, dear students, now let us turn our attention to another very important topic. And name of this topic is soil erosion and soil conservation. Okay, now let us first understand what is the meaning of the word soil erosion. Okay, it's very simple thing to understand what soil erosion. It is actually a process of removal of soil from earth's surface. It's a process of removal of soil from earth's surface by wind, water, by human activities, or maybe by animal activities. Okay, and basically this soil erosion is occurring because of water and because of wind. Okay, so these are actually also termed as the agents of erosion. Now if you see this picture, you will find here wind is carrying a large amount of soil with it. Okay, wind is carrying a large amount of soil with it from one place to another place. So therefore we say that even wind is responsible for erosion of soil. Now erosion by water, okay, is of two major types. First is called real erosion and next one is called as gully erosion. Okay, now let us understand what is the meaning of the word real erosion. Okay, now look at this picture carefully. You will find here a land. Okay, and here you will find some grooves which are formed inside the earth surface. Now these grooves are formed because of flowing of water. So when water begins to flow in a small channel and start bringing soil with it, we call it by the name real erosion. Okay, now as the time passes, these reels start becoming more and more deep, more and more wide, and ultimately it becomes very wide and very deep. We call now such erosion by the name gully erosion. So gully erosion is exactly what? It is the down cutting of the earth's surface by flowing water where deep and wide grooves are formed. Grooves are formed which are very deep and very wide. Actually, the process begins with the formation of a reel. Okay, ultimately these reels meet, or these reels go on becoming more and more wide, more and more deep, and that is how ultimately this reel erosion leads to the gully erosion. You can see in this picture. Okay, here can you identify what will be this? You are right, these are what? Reels. Okay, and when these reels uh, join together, okay, I mean to say the water which is flowing in reels join together, ultimately the last reel go on becoming more and more wide, more and more deep, and ultimately it results into formation of a gully. Now another type of erosion is called as sheet erosion. Okay, now what exactly is sheet erosion? Now you will find these gullies, oh sorry, these reels are formed, dear students, but at the very same time when rainfall will occur here, the water will spread on an entire land here. It will spread what? On entire land, and this water will start flowing downward, taking the upper layer of the land. I repeat, it will start taking what? The upper layer of the land. And this is how once one layer is washed away, the next layer is seen, so that next layer is washed away, then the next layer will be washed away. So this is how layer by layer, when the erosion occurs, that erosion is called as sheet erosion. Okay, you can see here a picture, dear student. Okay, soil erosion carried out by wind. Where do you think this wind erosion will be prominent? You are correct. It will be more prominent in desert region where there is hardly any obstacle for wind to blow. There are very few plants, or there may be absence of plants also, which are going to carry the soil with it. So wind erosion will be more prominent in dry areas. Even human beings are also responsible for erosion. When human beings are responsible, we call it by the name anthropogenic factors. Anthropogenic factors refer to the erosion carried out by human activities. So, which human activities are responsible for this? Let us see them. Mining. Okay. Of course, when the mining is to be done, we will have to carry out digging of the land. When the land will be dug, soil will become loose, and loose soil can be easily eroded. Then deforestation is also responsible for soil erosion. You must have studied, or you must have heard that plants are able to hold the soil with the help of their roots, as well as plants are responsible for stopping the faster movement of water, and this is how plants are responsible for controlling erosion. As well as when the construction occur, that also results into more and more erosion. You see here in this picture, you can see here lot of soil is to be dug before a road is constructed, and when more and more construction will be done, more and more soil erosion will occur. Now look at this picture. If rainfall occurs on side number 1 and the rainfall occurs on side number 2, what do you think? Where will be more flow of water, faster flow of water, I mean to say? Yes, it will be more on this side, left side, because there is hardly any obstacle for water to flow. Whereas on the right hand side, when the water will flow, its speed will be reduced because of trees. Moreover, when the rainfall will occur on left side, the water will come directly in contact with the soil, and the impact, the water is going to fall here with a greater force. Therefore, erosion will also be more. On the contrary, when it will occur on the side where there are a lot of trees, the water will not come directly in contact with the soil. Moreover, when water will fall first on the tree, the impact will be absorbed by the trees, and then water will gently fall on the soil, and then water will begin to flow with less speed, again because trees are going to obstruct the flow of water. But when we carry out deforestation, in other words, we are helping erosion to take place at a faster rate. Overgrazing. Now, when plants will be eaten up by animals, when grass will be eaten up by animals, then soil will be directly exposed to water, and therefore there will be more erosion. Okay, moreover, when animals are going to walk on the soil here, because of their movement, because of the physical impact of the force that is taking place on the soil, more and more soil will become loose. You can see here now this much soil is being exposed, and when rainfall will take place, this soil will be directly in contact with water, which can flow now very easily because there will be hardly any obstacle for water to flow. So there, as well as now when these animals are going to eat away the grass, that means the roots of the grass which hold the soil firm. That roots are also lost, therefore soil will become loose, and loose soil can get eroded more easily. So in this way, more grazing you can see here. Okay, do you notice a lot of soil getting stuck to the feet of animals? Yes or no? That means more and more erosion will take place. So when animals walk on the land, the soil becomes loose, and in this way the erosion also increases. Okay, now we have seen what are the reasons for erosion. Now we have to find out what preventive measures we can take in order to stop the erosion of soil. Now if you look here, this is a gully. Okay, we have seen what is a gully. Now how are we going to stop this gully erosion? First thing you can see here, we have constructed here bunds. Therefore, when water will be flowing in the gully, what will happen? This water will be first obstructed. By whom? By the bunds. That means we are now plugging the gully, and when gullies are plugged, the erosion is also getting reduced. So plugging the gully is one of the steps to stop the erosion. And which kind of erosion? Right, gully erosion. Then you see here we can also allow the trees to grow in the gullies. And what the trees will do, dear students? Trees will obstruct the flow of water, and this is how the erosion will also be controlled. Now you can also allow grass to grow in the gullies. You can see here lot of growth of grass. So what will happen because of this? Because of the grass, the water speed will be reduced. And second important thing, what will happen? The speed of the water will be reduced. And second thing, the roots are also going to hold the soil firm, thereby reducing the rate of soil erosion. Now, agronomic measures to control soil erosion. Now, when we use the word agronomic, it means the steps that are taken while carrying out agriculture in order to stop the erosion. These steps include terraced farming, strip cropping, contour plowing, and making shelter belts. Now, what do you mean by that? Okay, let us look at now step by step. First thing, look here. Do you notice here that on a slope of a mountain, okay, on a slope of a mountain, step-like structures are made, step-like. If there was a slope this way, okay, then water would have flown with a faster speed. But when you are going to construct the step-like structures here, the speed of the water will also be reduced. Okay, now I'll show you one more time. Suppose this is a straight slope, but instead of that, if you are going to construct the step-like structure, what will be the benefit? When water will flow here, when water will come down here, the speed of the water will be reduced. Therefore, erosion will also be reduced. Moreover, more water will get percolated because now it has become a gentle slope. So water will get more opportunity, more time to get percolated. So not only the speed of the water is getting reduced, but because lot of water is also getting percolated, so therefore erosion by water will also be reduced. Moreover, we can also construct the bunds, okay, a wall-like structure at edge of every step, and this is how we can reduce the erosion. Okay, now this step is taken during agricultural activity, that is why it is agronomic measure. Now second one I was talking is strip cropping. Now if you look here, look at these crops which are grown here, and you will find them that they are grown in a line parallel to each other. But while making them, a care is taken that the crop plantation is done perpendicular to the direction of wind. Suppose 1, 2, 3. These are the rows in which we are going to plant the crop. Then they are planted in such a way that they have to study that generally the wind flow blows in which direction. So if the wind is going to blow towards the right side, so this row will be able to obstruct the flow of the wind. Okay, flow of the wind, and because of that the speed will be reduced, and because of that even the erosion will also be reduced. This kind of cropping pattern is called as strip cropping. This is an example of terraced farming, okay, which we have studied just few moments ago. Now you might be wondering, what is this contour plowing? If you see here, on a slope of a mountain, the plowing is done in circular pattern, and it is done in such a way that if the slope of the land is this way, okay, if this is a slope, the plowing will be done perpendicular to that, this way. So what will happen? So when the water will start flowing downward, but because now you have plowed the land this way, the water won't be able to flow faster. Okay, this kind of plowing is called as contour plowing, in which plowing is done of the land on a mountain slope perpendicular to the direction of mountain slope. Okay, that is done in order to reduce the speed of running water. Then you can see this is another example of terraced farming. You can see here a lot of water getting collected, so that water won't be able to flow very easily. Because of that the erosion rate will also be reduced.